You don't know how to color grade your videos and you want to make any videos look cinematic? I have the solution for you in this video. Have you already heard about Enhancer Pro? It's an extremely powerful software that you can use either with Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, or DaVinci Resolve. For this example in this video, I will use Final Cut Pro to show you how you can color grade very easily, even if you are a totally beginner in filmmaking. So let me show you that in my computer. You will love it. Alright, so here we are in Final Cut Pro and I'm gonna show you. So I just selected like here a couple of footage that I filmed with my Sony a7R V in an S-Log profile. So we're gonna see how you can color grade it very easily. So in your case, if you don't even know how to color grade a log profile footage, you will have all what you need in this video. So you have this video that you shot on your log profile and you want to color grade it professionally without even knowing how to do it properly, and you are a beginner in videography or in filmmaking and you want to have a good result quickly. So I have the solution for you here. After purchasing the Enhancer Pro, don't forget the link in the description to have minus 10%. Just go to the effect right here and here you have film emulation. Just click and drop the Enhancer Pro to the footage here and now we can start working on it. So you can see the before and the after. It's totally normal if you have this kind of image. We're gonna fix it very quickly. Don't worry for that. That's totally normal. So the first thing you can do is that you have to select your camera profile. So before everything, I'm just gonna disable the film grain here, which is enabled here. So I'm just gonna deactivate it to work in a clean image. Let's get back to the beginning and you just need to choose your camera profile. So choose it and here you have different camera, and for me I'm shooting with a Sony a7R V, so I choose Sony and here I have the exact model. But the problem right here, and it's just too bad, is that we don't have all the camera. You have the main choices but you don't have all the camera. So I just hope that they will update it. But even with the choices you have here, you can find a very similar camera profile to yours. So for me, I shot with the S-Log S-Game Cine 3, so I have to choose a camera that allows me to choose that. So let's say, for example, the A7 IV, and here I can see the S-Log 3 S-Game 3 Cine ISO 800, which is the profile I use. So I can choose this camera, for example. Alright, so you already see it's much better than before, but that's not all. We're gonna go further. So here you can play with the exposure compensation to give the look you like to your footage. Alright, you can play with the temperature right here. You can warm it up or just make it look colder. All depends on your personal taste. For me, it looks really good like this. Here, just below, you have the film profile. So here is very important. That's the essential thing of the Enhancer Pro. Here you have different film profile that will allow you to have a specific outcome. So I really like the Kodak Portra 800, for example, which gives you a certain type of image, a certain color grading, certain tint to the image. But I recommend you to experiment the different profiles so that you see what matches the best for the footage or what is the best result for the mood you want to give to your video. So I can try this one, for example, which looks very good for me. Push-pull right here just allows you to vary color contrast of a scene within a selected film profile. So here you can see it varies a little bit. So for me, here is very good. Here you have film developer, and it's where you can just boost the contrast, for example. Oh, don't forget to enable it before. So here you see you can play with the contrast. So let's put a little bit of a contrast, and when you play with the contrast, you can play with the gamma. So for me, it's enough like that. Then you have film compression. A film compression lets you fine-tune the redistribution of the highlights, and the resulting image looks more analog and becomes more flexible for further manipulation. So if you play with the impact, let's enable first, and you will see how it changes the image. Here you can see, for example, the highlights will decrease, and it will be the same thing in the sky. So for me, like this is very good. Okay, we'll keep it that way. Then we have expand. Expand allows you to determine the dynamic range you are looking for by playing with the black and white. Here it's the black points. You see, it's gonna get darker, and you have the white points. It's gonna get brighter. It's like a sort of contrast. Then here, another very important point, which is the print. The print allows you to give a specific tint to your photo and contrast curve. So technically speaking, it's like an optical printing, and it's the last stage of the analog production. So it's like when you print on the paper, will just give a different result, in terms of tint and contrast curves, etc. So you can try once again what suits the most for your video. You can try the first one. Okay, it doesn't look good. You can try the second one, which looks better. You can try the third one and the fourth one. Okay, I really like the fourth one here. The Kodak Andra glossy paper looks very good on this footage. Once again, you can play with the exposure within the print profile, and for the rest, that looks good for me. Here you can add a little bit of grain, but it's quite strong for the grain, so I would rather use positive, so it's much more subtle, and I also like decreasing the grain, the amount of grain. You see, when you put a lot of grain and when you decrease the grain, you can have this kind of render. Then you have the halation effect. The halation effect just reproduces what you see in the cinema. So it's like the very thin red color that you can see in the edge of everything with the highlights. So let's take an example. I'm going to show you. I'm going to enable it so you can be in the mask mode to see how it applies to the image. So it applies just here, and the more you increase impact, the more it will apply here. So I can also amplify the effect right here. So not too much, but just enough so that it's visible, so that I can show you better. So look here, for example. Look here, you can see the red right here. Can you see the red? That's what we call the halation effect. All right, I can decrease a little bit. For me, it looks very good like that. Then you have the bloom. I also really love this feature. So it's like a mist effect. When you do photography, or if you have a mist filter, it really gives a very dreamy look to your image, a very soft and dreamy look. So that's what it's going to give to your image. Here, for example, I'm gonna enable it, and I'm gonna go to mask mode so that you can see where it applies. So I'm gonna amplify the highlights so that you can see it's more visible right here. So I'm just gonna show you how it impacts the video. Look, just don't be too much on it. So just play with the impact cursor right here to decrease the effect, and you can amplify a little bit so that it's more visible, but don't be at 100%. It's not very good, it's not natural. So the more you are natural, the better it is. So here it looks very good. You can see the before and the after. It's like a more dreamy, and I really love that. Then you have the vignette. The vignette, you can enable it so that it can be a little bit darker in the edge. So I'm just going to decrease the feathers so that you can see the difference. Look how it is. You see? So you can play with the size. So like this is very good, so that you can focus more on the subject. Maybe a little bit more like that. Okay. And you will play with the feather so that you can see this type of line, Just play with the feather, and you can decrease more the exposure so that it's a little bit darker in the edges, and it focuses the attention in the main subject right here. So that's pretty much it. That's what I use mainly. So it took a little bit of time because I had to explain you everything, but if you had to do it yourself, it takes not more than 5-10 minutes. If you want to adjust it, it will take a little bit more time, but you can see how easy it is to color grade a footage, and I will just show you now the before and the after. Before, after. That's crazy how you can color grade and log profile footage with just using the Enhancer Pro. That's amazing, the result you get with it. So now you can move to the next footage, and it's gonna be much quicker. You know why? Because you can just copy all the things you did in this clip. So just press Command and C, and you just go to the next video and you can just copy it by pressing Command Shift and V so that you can copy all the features in this clip. So just paste and you see it's already done. That's amazing. It's already done. So you can just adjust if needed for specific things, for specific colors if you want. But look how fast it was, how quick it was. Once you've done it for the footage, you can just copy and paste. Of course, you can always try different profiles so that you have different result. Okay, but it was very easy, you see. So in this case, I prefer this one maybe. And I can just decrease a little bit of the exposure. So that's amazing for me. And look how it was before, after. Wow. Amazing in just a few seconds. But just keep something in mind, it's because I shot everything in the same camera and the same log profile, okay? So just keep that in mind. So that's why it's so efficient right here. So I'm gonna go to the last footage right here that I shot with a drone. So as you can see, it's a different profile. It's a different log profile, okay? So if you want to copy and paste, so you're gonna paste it. And here you just need to change it to DJI. For example, I can choose Mavic 2 Pro and D-Log. So here you see it's much better. And here it just kept all the fine profiles and all the settings you did for the previous footage. Of course, you can always customize it. If you don't want the halation effect, if you don't want the bloom effect, for example, I can disable it. As you can see, before, after, it's very subtle, but it's present in the video. So you can play with the highlight, you can play with the contrast, for example, right here, to make it more punchy, and it's done. Look at this, it's incredible. If you are afraid that it's too bright here and that the highlights are clipping, you can just go here to monitor. Very useful. You can click here so that you can see exactly how it is, or you can just use the clipping indication, so it shows you where it's too dark. Right here it's blue, you see, and where it's too bright, so here it's not clipping. So that's it. If you want, you can also use built-in tools just to decrease here the highlights. So you can decrease the highlights, and if it looks better for you, you can keep it that way. So decrease the highlight and increase a little bit of contrast. Look at the before and the after. Here's how you color grade very easily thanks to the Enhancer Pro. So you color grade like a professional even if you are beginner. So you see, I'm sure you are convinced how powerful is this tool and how much time you can save by using this plugin. That's totally insane, the result you can get, like very cinematic look, this very film look. In just a few clicks, you have everything in the right panel and you can do everything there, even if you are totally beginner. So that's why I love this tool, and since I discovered it, I use it all the time for my videos. So if you don't believe me, just take your camera, just go outside and film some footage, just go back home and just use the Enhancer Pro. You will see exactly how it works, and believe me, once you use it, you will always want to use it for your next videos. So what I recommend you to do now is to click on the first link in the description to get minus 20% discount on your purchase of this plugin. It's totally insane. Once again, believe me, you have the possibility to buy the plugin for lifetime, you know, just pay one time and you have this plugin for lifetime. For me, it's like an investment for the future because you know that you will use it for all the videos coming. Every time I shoot a new video, I always think about what I will do in the Enhancer to make it look better, things like that. So I always think about that now. So believe me, you have a trial period. Click on the first link in the description and you will thank me later. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I see you in the next one.